Okay, well, we will continue letting people in as they show up, but since this is a short 30 minutes this morning and we have lots of conversation to have with Dina, we're going to go ahead and get started. As you all know, this is our virtual business owner series for this semester. We've been trying different ways in this virtual environment. And so this semester we've done, this is our third 30-minute interview. So trying to not take up too much of everyone's time and get the largest impact. So this morning we're excited to have Dina here with us. Dina
Good morning, Miss Dina.
Is a business owner and the spouse of a business owner that helped grow a business and then exited. I think it was it 2019? 2019, Dina, when you guys sold?
Yes, that's correct.
So right before pandemic. And so with that, I'm gonna just let you guys dig right in.
Sounds
Joe.
good.
Yeah.
So hi everybody, I'm Joe Strazzeri. I have with me Dina. Dina is one of our clients. Dina and her family we have known for a long time. We're going to cover today some of what you would expect and some you might not expect. Yes, Dina and I have talked a little bit yesterday about what we might be talking about. It's our goal, as we did the first one of these as a 3-pack for people to access. The first one was with an exited business owner, an entrepreneur who created something from nothing and exited with what I call go away money, enough where it didn't matter. But before that exit, the prior 10 years had spent 10, 12 years had spent putting money on the side to develop passive income assets to where the sale of the business wasn't needed in order to create financial success. Had done that and talked about the trials and tribulations, the deal that fell apart,
And
the deal that went through.
grooming his daughter, different type of family situation, I believe. Yeah.
That allowed the growing of that business, that allowed the growing of a family member and what it was like to have family members in and out of business and his perspective. And then his regrets and what his recommendations were. Next, we interviewed 3 ladies in G3 that took over a well-known brand that was started by Grandpa with his name. Son's name was the same, but that expanded it magically. These 3 children almost blew apart. And their relationship between them almost did as well, or amongst them. And as they're taking over, they're still in the middle of it. What does that look like? And from not sale, but from true succession. And they've still considered sale because like every other business owner out there, they're getting 1 call a week from somebody saying, I have a buyer for your business.
Yep.
Because money's so cheap out there. And I will tell you, business owners that would come to us for years would say, I'm considering, what do I do? It's 3 to 5, 3 to 7, 3 to 10 years out. Now, almost everybody that calls us has at least 1 buyer in hand. What do I do? Very different. In this third one, Dina's been kind of. Dina, you were originally part of the start of the business and the growth of the business. You were part of that original team, and there are pictures on staircases as the team grew that you were part of. Can you give me a little bit of why did you and Jack start the business? How did it start to grow? And then thirdly, when did you decide to pull out?
Why did we start the business?
Yeah.
To make an income for our family. Jack was doing management consulting training at the time. And he had a client that needed a survey done for their employees. And they were doing it on paper, of course, in those days you did in the 90s. And he said, you know, I could write a program in FileMaker that would tabulate all those results and make a report for you. And they said, that'd be great. And so he went ahead and did that with the help of a friend. And at that time, the internet was just coming on the scene, and they said, gosh, maybe we could do something with this. We could get it online and we could do real time. So that's how it began. And yeah, that's kind of the
And
background.
it started to grow. Then you and Jack did this together. When did you decide, you know what, y'all have a good time, I'm not doing this anymore?
Okay. So I started in the very beginning, kind of as the office manager, just doing whatever they needed me to do. And they asked, just help out as long as you can. And that lasted 13 years. And about the time we actually Jack and I pretty much retired about the same time. But when the grandkids came along, that's when I started feeling the tug of, I want to spend more time with the grandkids, less time at the office, and started training replacement for me.
And how many employees were there at that point?
About 75, 80, about that time.
And then when you finally sold, what did it grow to?
Well, after we sold, within a year, they took it to 300.
Sure. And then were there during the time, not when you finally decided to sell, but before that, were there suitors coming along saying, hey, we'd like to buy you?
Yes, a few times we had offers, and each time I remember feeling like, we can't do this, we've got all these employees that we love, and if we sell it, I'm afraid of, what might happen to them, and, would they keep their jobs? What would happen to them? And that was always our concern, is what would happen to our employees if we sold.
Sure. And so how did you choose advisors to help you think through selling or not? Or was that just you and Jack around a kitchen table saying, nope, we're not selling?
No, lots of kitchen table stuff, friends, family. Yeah.
So you were seeking friends and family to decide to sell or to keep. Yes. And then these professionals were pressuring you. No, here's an offer, sell. And then you go back to the kitchen table or sit around a fire pit and talk to your friends and say, should we do this or not? Yes. Sure. So what was the difference on the one time where somebody came up and said, well, we might sell? What made that difference for you and Jack to say, okay, well, maybe I've got all these worries, but we'll listen? You mean the time when we actually did sell? When you decided to sell eventually, there was a conversation that happened where you said, maybe. Well, at that time, his partner had decided, he's a couple years older than Jack, and decided to retire. So that was kind of a trigger event for us. And at that time, also, the company really needed to, in order to compete with similar companies, needed to put in the capital to grow and expand. Without that, they probably wouldn't be able to continue. Did you know that? Did you know that it needed a capital infusion to make that next level growth, or was that something professionals told you? Me personally, I'm going to say that that's something that someone told us we needed to do, because we had grown, so far we had grown completely organically, but not borrowing money, just, hiring a couple people, then a few more. So as you decided, oh my gosh, we might do this as a serious, how did you decide to let in professionals to help you do that? Did you use how did you make that decision? Well, it was tough. It was kind of like we had to let go at that point. And there was the original stockholders of 5, I believe. And so they made that decision together, that this is something that they were going to move forward with and consider. Sure. And then for you and Jack, was there a kitchen table discussion of, oh my God, this is real? Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I still feel that way. I still feel like what happened, it's just, it's kind of a surreal experience, very much so. Were you and Jack in complete alignment, or did you guys have to talk through, okay, we're doing this? We were in alignment on this one, lots of
concerns, obviously, as to what was going to happen, but definitely on the same page with that.
What was it like having to, well, first off, what kind of new things did you have to learn to have this happen?
We need longer than 30 minutes, I think. Gosh, where do I start? Trust, investing, gosh, all that kind of stuff. And we hadn't really spent a lot of time thinking about that. We were going to work every day. We were growing the business, and just that was on the shelf. And my hindsight would be we needed a little more education sooner on that. But, Joe's doing an amazing job, getting us up to speed.
So you were saying more education on that earlier. More education on what?
Estate planning, what we needed to know for that, and preparation, because we simply weren't prepared for everything that was going to happen as a result of this large sale and diversifying the income and that sort of thing.
What was it like considering the tax consequences of the sale?
Well, what's that? I'm sorry, Shay.
Well,
Shocking.
if I might, I know that your partner is very close to your family as you grew. In fact, he was a pastor at one point.
That's correct.
And unfortunately, we lost his wife.
That's correct.
So that was traumatic, and that probably drove some of his best of retiring. But economically, it puts you in different positions because his stock got a full settlement basis, and there was
Yes.
no tax consequence for the sale.
Yes.
But yours, you discovered there was going to be a major tax consequence.
Right. That's true.
And describe that, if you might, when you first got a hint that there might be a way to minimize that tax.
Well, great relief and amazement that there are, ways, to work through that, and that you don't have to just pay it all and shut the book, as you had told us in that first meeting. So
Sure.
we were thankful for the options.
Would it be fair for me to say that you and Jack had different tolerances for complexity and more
yeah.
boxes or less boxes?
Yes. Yeah.
Was that something that you immediately fell in alignment with, or there was a difference of opinion?
Difference of opinion. There's been several things I haven't been comfortable with, but we've, gone forward and everything's worked out. But that is more, the difference in our personalities too. I'm a little more cautious, I'm a little more, let's wait, let's see how this goes. And he's a little more, no, let's go, let's do it. I'm good. So
how many advisors were whispering in your ear during that time of what to do or not?
Gosh.
Financial, legal, accounting, those kind of people.
At least I'd say 10, about 10 people.
10 people whispering in your ears, and there's 4 other partners, one of which who has no tax problem, 3 others that do. Were you guys talking amongst yourselves about what you were hearing?
Not a lot, surprisingly enough. At that point, it was kind of interesting. It's sort of like each of the stockholders was kind of on their own. For being so connected for so many years, it was an interesting dynamic.
As you were listening to those whispering ears, with people whispering in your ear, did all the advice seem to fall in line the same way, or did it seem to be all over the place?
I think it was pretty consistent. And even when we would maybe run it by a family member, and even that we had to be careful about, it seemed like they were very, very supportive and verified what we were being told.
Sure. What was it like? You've got 2 beautiful children, both that were in the business at different levels doing different things. they were part of the employees that you had to be concerned about because the new company would take,
Right.
and they still had an income from. They had spouses that had opinions or not. There's this,
Mhm.
there's this enormous bucket of money, because if I might, that sale was in the hundreds of thousands of dollars total. There was a big bucket of money coming down, and they had bits and pieces of things and not, and you were worried about their stream of income. What was the conversation with your kids like?
Um, that too, was somewhat delicate. I didn't know how much we should share with them, but like you said, they were involved in the business, especially our son, because he was our top salesperson. So he pretty much knew all the intimate details of all of it. So in a way, it was really good to be able to talk to them, just to get their feeling on it. But still, again, a surreal experience that to go from, having a fixed income to this was, it's still, I still look at the zeros and can't, I can't wrap my head around it. You know, I, I think one day I was talking to Alexis on the phone and I was in Dollar Tree. I just,
Alexis is an attorney at our firm.
yes, Alexis, she was asking me some questions and I said, well, you're not going to believe it, but right now I'm in Dollar Tree. And so I don't know, some of those old, the way that you've always, grown up, it just doesn't leave you. So I
Very
still
true.
shop at Dollar Tree.
When you consider what you might consider an indulgence, what were a couple of things that you or Jack kind of did and said, maybe we'll do that thing?
Oh, well, I guess I can say what Jack is doing. What Jack is doing.
Sure. Well, I know Jack did one thing for you.
He did one. Yes, he did. It kind of is this. It kind of is incorporated.
Sure. Which was?
Which was he bought me a classic car, which was the car, not the actual car, but the same kind of car that I drove in high school, which I told him was not cool in high school at all. But now it's pretty cool. It's a 63 Ford Falcon. And it's beautiful. It's in great condition, but nobody collects those. But anyway, I have mine and it says Dina Bell on the license plate.
Did you have any idea that was going to appear?
No, I didn't. I mean, he was wheeling and dealing on the phone when he was trying to drive. We were going to Paso Robles and he's doing this and I'm asking him why he's not driving better, and he's actually buying my car on an auction. But yes, and related to what he's doing is he purchased a commercial building that he turned into kind of a man cave, if you will. But it's pretty great. It's got a gas station, old-fashioned gas station built inside, and he's just having a blast doing that.
So rather than a garage man cave, he's got a building.
It's a building, yes.
Well, it was a garage. It was a tire store that is now.
Yeah, originally it was auto repair. So I think it's about 6,000 square feet. So it's the place to hang out now in Temecula.
Was that kind of weird saying, yeah, we'll just buy that building and do this?
Totally weird. He still says, why am I doing this? I don't know.
Was Jack pretty busy before the sale in the company and doing stuff?
He was pretty busy, although he was trying to kind of slow it down a little, he had a few health issues and kind of needed to start slowing it down. But in his mind, it was 24/7 with that business.
So with you guys now that the big sales happen, it's complete, don't know what to do with yourself the next morning or different?
No, Joe and I were just talking about that, and he had told us originally, that you know, you think you're busy now, basically, with your company, you're about to be a whole lot busier. And I couldn't put my head around that. I thought, oh, retirement, you know, we're going to sit around and we're going to go places, but, and I hope we still get to do that. But, man, we've been pretty busy, you know, just trying to manage all this and, manage the property and properties. So it's keeping us
What's it,
busy.
what's it like? Because you mentioned Jack's Health for a moment. What's it like during the worry of sale about their spouse's health and then the worry of that trying to slow down afterwards? Can you put some language around that?
Uh, Around worrying about Jack's health.
Sure.
Yeah, the timing, interestingly enough, he needed open heart surgery. Was that, I think, just a couple months before the actual sale, as the timing of it was. So there was an awful lot going on that year. There was the, you know, just kind of the grief, if you will, of selling the business and losing our community, our friend, the community we had around those people, and the life we had around those people, and just kind of missing that. And then right following that was this realization, all of a sudden he had to have surgery, and it was just it was a lot to take in that year. And we didn't have a lot of brain space really to do a lot more than that at the
Of
time.
course. You have,
Do you have, Dina, can you, after, once you've made it through all this, right? And now you're on the other side, but do
Mhm.
you have any regrets? The way that the exit actually took place? Do you wish you would have done things differently?
Mm. I wish there had been maybe a little bit better communication, to our employees. And I don't know how that should have been done, but we had a meeting, an all-employee meeting, and when they announced that they were retiring, there was an audible gasp in the room.
Mhm.
People felt like, gosh, I'm getting a little emotional. People felt like they'd been gut punched. You know, a few select people were told ahead of the meeting because they needed to know, but as a whole, they did not know. And they were told in this meeting, and like I said, there was an audible gasp in the room. So obviously that was not done properly for them to feel that much shock, and just like what happened, just that whole thing. So better communication at large, but to be honest, I don't know how that would have been done.
but you, if I might, you also did something for them as a group with this big thing that happened. Can you put a little language around that?
Yes, so when the stock was sold, we did a profit sharing or bonus, if you will, with all of the employees. So they were able to have a part in that. And they, you know, a certain amount was allotted for them, because we felt like they had been such a part of building this company, and we couldn't have done that without them.
And you didn't have a responsibility to do that or contractual. Was there a difference at all between the 5 partners about to do that or not, or how much to do?
A little bit, but it was agreed upon fairly quickly. But yes, there was a difference in opinion. I believe there was a number thrown out, and I think Jack said double it. So yeah,
And-
there was a
and some
large
people
number
didn't
thrown out,
even
and he
do that.
said double it. So yeah, there
Sure.
was a difference.
So in just this last couple of minutes,
Mhm.
what would you recommend if you were talking, you were around the table, your own kitchen table with 2 other couples that were considering a sale? What are the 2 or 3 things you'd say, hey, look,
I would say it's pretty hard to promise that things will stay the same when you're gone. You know, it's probably almost impossible. Now, maybe more in a legacy type company where it's family members passing it down, but even then, it's probably going to be a little bit different. And for us, it's hard for us not to feel a little bit bad about that, about how things have changed for them, the people that are still there. So just to be aware that it's a fact that things will change when new ownership comes in, and be ready for that. Don't have the expectation that things will stay the same.
No matter what the buyers say, it's still not going to be the same.
Exactly, because
A
that
lot
was
of times the buyers try to tell you they won't change anything.
and that going back to what you were saying before about the advice we got, that's exactly the message they gave us, that, oh, we're not going to change anything. You know, the company's still going to be run, you know, by the original, you know, for who's heading everything up. Don't worry. But that was entirely not true. That was not true.
and what might you give for advice? You know, the advisors that were talking to you right before and right after the sale that were whispering, what would you give those advisors advice on how to have that conversation or what to talk about?
What kind of things to ask? You
Sure,
mean?
what kind of things that, well, there were some advisors that you believed more than others, or that communicated better, or some difference, and you had to choose which horse to ride, if I call it that. What would you give to those advisors advice on how to better do whatever it is they do with the person considering the sale?
I would say just ask a lot of questions, and ask questions that you might, I still struggle with this, like ask dumb questions, if you will. You know, ask questions that you think, you know, you should know, but you don't. You know, ask the obvious things. You know, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to these people? You know.
Sure. So as we're wrapping up, is there any last thing you'd like to share, or do you feel like you covered it pretty well?
I think you covered it pretty well. I might say that we are still going through some transition with this whole thing. Each year brings some new things to consider, and as far as with the estate planning, just Joe didn't throw it all in our lap in the beginning. He's letting us make some decisions as we go, which has been great, because there's no way we could have made some of those decisions that first year. There just was too many emotions, too many things going on to make good decisions. I don't think you really can. You don't know what you don't know until you start, you know, encountering some of these things and maybe feeling a little bit different about them.
Perfect.
Do you wish you would have started that conversation earlier than you did?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So you started it basically when you had an offer, right?
Yes. 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 It wasn't until, so it was after after Jack's partner retired, and we started getting offers. That's when Jack called Joe. Yeah.
So I'll share with everybody on the call, Dina, you were very kind. We called in, we were having kind of one of our standard calls about some stuff. Actually, a call where we were asking Jack for a favor. Hey, could you help us think through something? You've got an area of expertise that we're naive at. Can you help us think through? And I said, hey, we'd like to ask Dina for this. And I still remember he kind of leaned back in his chair. Hey, Dina, where are you at?
Yeah,
Have you left yet?
She'll do it. Yeah, she'll do it.
Have you left yet? And you came over, kind of stuck your head in the camera. And we asked if you'd participate with us on this, and you were so kind and gracious with us. And then yesterday on a short call, we talked about it. Thank you for giving us the time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you all for participating, listening in today. Let Shelley know what was valuable on this stuff. Dina, again, thank you very much.
You're
Best to the
welcome.
kids and Jack.
All right, I will. Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.